Turmoil at 10 Downing Street. Prime Minister Liz Truss facing a crisis after just 39 days on the job. She just sacked her finance minister, a close friend, Kwasi Kwarteng. He's now the second shortest serving chancellor in modern UK history. She fired Kwarteng a day after he made public remarks from Washington that he's absolutely not going anywhere. He insisted he'd still have his role next month. Truss also abruptly scrapped a part of a controversial plan to cut corporate taxes. It was one of her top campaign promises. When she rolled out the plan 3 weeks ago, markets plunged. Truss addressed reporters today at a news conference. It lasted just 8 minutes. She took 4 questions. In that time, she defended herself and tried to reassure her Conservative Party that she's still in control.
I have acted decisively today because my priority is ensuring our country's economic stability. I want to be honest, this is difficult, but we will get through this storm.
The walls appear to be closing in on Truss. According to The Times, Kwarteng thinks she'll be ousted in a few weeks. Wilfred Frost joins us tonight outside Downing Street. Wilf, do you think she can survive this storm?
Well, she definitely could survive it, but make no mistake about it, Kayla. All of those changes you just outlined, they came from a position of desperate weakness for the new Prime Minister. And strangely, for someone in office for just 38 days, things are now out of her control. She's at the mercy of the markets. She's at the mercy of her own MPs, something that can happen years into a premiership, but has never happened this soon. She's even at the mercy of her new finance minister, because she could definitely not survive having to fire another one. So she has to go with whatever he comes up with and has to hope he starts to command the respect of markets and her MPs again.
So what's in place of the mini budget? Has she now articulated any clearer vision on how to boost the economy?
Well, not in the short term, and economic vision over the summer was clear. It was one of tax cuts, even if that meant funding it by borrowing, even during a time when rates were rising, and the markets unceremoniously rejected that, rejected so-called Trussonomics. From here, it feels like the approach will be a desperate scramble to regain credibility, as opposed to be guided by any form of underlying principles. What might be interesting to see in the months ahead, Kayla, is whether voters continue to remember what has just happened. Will a politician at the next election be rewarded for saying, we're going to spend less and tax more because it's sensible? Of course, on both sides of the Atlantic, that hasn't been the norm for the last decade. It's been throw money at the problem from both governments and the central bank. That approach has ended here in the UK, in the short term at least.
Yeah, the credibility question was going to be my next one on both sides of the Atlantic, because from talking to administration officials here in Washington, the moves that she had announced were met with confusion and displeasure. So how much credibility has the UK and has the Conservative Party lost in this whole ordeal?
Oh, I mean, an enormous amount. The Conservative Party, which was meant to be known for strong economic handling, sees its polls this week in the low 20s, whilst Labour is above 50. An astonishingly big lead and a terrible outlook for the Conservative Party. For the country as a whole, I mean, clearly the economic outlook has worsened. The recession was coming anyway. Interest rates were going up anyway, but it has worsened. In terms of the image of the country, it's all a bit embarrassing. The Chancellor forced to return home early from the IMF to be fired. The Prime Minister clinging on 38 days into a premiership when we'd only just got rid of the previous Prime Minister in rather embarrassing fashion. I think really I should be the one asking you what the image is of our country at the moment, but I don't really want to hear the answer, so I won't.
Will Frost, you're going to be burning a lot of midnight oil for us. I have a sense of that. We appreciate it, though. Thank you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.